does vidui and tachnun do that tshuva doesn't? Vidui and tachnun is tshuva. Vidui and tachnun is a tshuva that is admitting the wrongdoing that you've done. Now, tshuva in itself, there's several steps. So there's the first, it's admitting that you've made a mistake. That's the vidui. Chatanu, avinu, pashanu, all of the different sins that a person made. That is the first step of tshuva. If a person lives in denial, doesn't think that they even sinned, she doesn't understand why there's anything wrong with her wearing a long wig. She doesn't understand why there's anything wrong with her wearing pants or a short skirt. She doesn't understand why there's anything wrong with her flirting with some guys from time to time. She doesn't understand why it's wrong to go to lunch with her guy friends while she's married, and even if she's not married. She doesn't understand. A person like that cannot even begin to do tshuva. They can't begin to do tshuva. Why? Because they're not admitting they're wrong. Same thing with a guy. A guy doesn't understand why it's wrong for him to watch sports instead of learn Torah. He doesn't see what's wrong with him watching movies. He doesn't see anything wrong with it. Then that person cannot even begin to do tshuva. Cannot even begin to do tshuva. Now, b'siyat d'shmaya, since I mentioned the whole issue of TV and watching, somebody sent me a present. Many times people send me stuff, but once in a while it's mamash a gift. What's his gift? I'm going to share this gift with you. It's the gift that keeps on giving. What's his gift? A group of tzaddikim, zealous for the words of Hashem, wrote this and publicized it and are recommending that people print this and hang this on their shul and on television screens, should be also computer screens, should be everywhere. What is this? Said there's going to be, you should do a blessing to be recited before watching a movie. Unless it's the Tikkun HaBRIT movie. Because the Tikkun HaBRIT movie, we already have a blessing in the movie. But if it's any other movie, you have to do a L'Shem Yichud. Do a special prayer, if you will. What's the prayer? I am hereby willingly and readily preparing to bind myself to the Sitra Achra, meaning the Satan, to give power and strengthen the Klipot and the forces of evil that reside in the world with the movie that I'm about to watch. And may it be that for the next 2.5 hours I will unite myself totally and completely with the movie and bind myself to it in total concentration. I am hereby ready and prepared to be a pogem einayim, to desecrate my eyes and gaze at immodestly dressed women for the next 2.5 hours. I am fully prepared to be over on a lav deoraita, meaning a sin from a Torah, of lo taturu achei levavchem v'achei einechem, that you should not follow the verse in the Torah. And so we say in Shema Yisrael, don't follow the ways of your heart, the ways of your eyes. You're going to violate that mitzvah. I am also willing to transgress the law of Ashmo mikol dvara, that you should keep away from anything of evil. Don't ever get close to a sin. I am ready and prepared to be over a deoraita of looking and thinking about women as brought down by all poskim. Now listen, including but not limited to the Rambam, Rabbeinu Yonah, and Shulchan Aruch. I am also more than ready to be over on Veitim Kedoshim, and Kedoshim to you, to also desecrate the mitzvah of being holy and that we're obligated to be holy. I am also ready and prepared to look at the face of the Reshaim, even though the Holy Kabbalah warns that it is very damaging to the soul. So this is a prayer that a person should do before they destroy their neshama. Go, before you can destroy your neshama, read this. You're not going to watch the movie. But it continues. And mamash, even though it's long, it deserves our attention to hear every word. I am ready and prepared. a person should say to himself if they're about to watch a movie. I'm ready and prepared to funnel impure thoughts into my mind that will cause me to, heaven forbid, be pogem HaBRIT, to waste seed. If that will not happen, then I am fully prepared and ready to see keri while I'm asleep, meaning the seed's going to leave at night, which is still a sin. Gemara Masechet Avodah Zarah says that a person should watch his eyes during the day so evil doesn't come to him at night. If a person has seed come out of him at night while he's sleeping, if it's because he watched immodesty during the day, it's 100% a purposeful sin. I am fully ready to contaminate my mind day and night with impure thoughts and recollections from the movie that I'm about to watch. I'm ready and prepared to spend countless Shmonayesre, the Amidah prayer, spaced out from beginning to end, having the impurity of the movie overtake my mind. I'm ready and prepared to have the reznut in my tefillin, with my tefillin on, thinking about filthiness while you have tefillin on, or during your Amidah prayer, you don't even know what you're saying. You start with a Magen Avraham, you finish Birkat HaMazon. You don't even know what you're saying because your mind is thinking about movies. I'm hereby making myself a vessel to fully receive and absorb all of the impure essence of the defiled actors and producers that created this movie. I'm ready to be integrated and impressed upon my body, soul, and emotions. I'm ready to absorb all the non-Jewish culture and the bad traits of the 70 nations. I'm willing and ready to bring into my mind confusion and heresy. I will confound my mind with wicked philosophy until I will start not believing in Hashem and the tzaddikim altogether. I'm ready and prepared to start uttering the vulgarity and slang that I will hear throughout the movie and fully plan on integrating it into my daily conversations. I'm prepared and ready to adore and idolize the wicked Reshaim in the movie who wish to destroy Am Yisrael and whose ancestors committed gross murderous acts against our nation. I am ready and totally bind myself to their fake, impure, and empty culture and commit to live it, myself and my family. I'm fully ready and prepared to cause great damage and destruction in the spiritual worlds. I am ready to cause great flaws in many of the various holy names. I'm fully ready to create great havoc in the worlds of Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, Asiyah. I'm ready to damage and mutilate all parts of my soul composed of Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, and I'm ready to delay the arrival of Mashiach and to bring much suffering and poverty to the world. I'm ready to waste the next hours funneling impurity into my soul instead of spending the time studying Torah and doing Avodat Hashem. I'm ready to lose all sensation and awareness of Kedusha, as well as nullify my emunah in Hashem and the tzaddikim. I'm ready to strongly lower my ability to concentrate and learn Torah, as well as damage my memory for all things holy. I'm also giving the chitzonim, the demons in so many words, a permanent share of all the Torah and mitzvot that I do until the point when I do tshuva. I'm ready to create demons and other negative entities that will steal all my substance. I'm ready to further away my ability to find my zivug, making it hard to find a wife or a husband, and make her completely opposed and rebellious to me if I do find her. Meaning, even if you find a zivug, you'll have marriage problems. If I'm married, then I'm willing to have my children considered semi-mamzerim, since I will not be able to control my thoughts. Where the Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan says, anyone that is thinking about a different woman while he's with his wife, some chachamim like Rabbi Yochanan say that's a mamzer. That's like you cheated on your wife. I will do all of the above willingly and gleefully, sitting relaxed on the sofa and enjoying myself to the utmost. Now this, for anyone who doesn't understand, it's obviously mocking the whole issue of watching TV, watching movies, Netflix, all this garbage. But many times you will see people that call themselves religious do just that without thinking twice about it. Even some of these people that have a YouTube videos that call themselves rabbis, they openly admit for watching movies on Netflix and watching all types of sports and filth and so on, like without thinking there's anything wrong with it. Now, anyone that has Kedusha in their mind knows that watching all that garbage ruins you. Watching all that garbage ruins you. Watching just immodesty on the screen, all these HBO shows and Showtime shows and all types of filth that's out there, it's damaging your mind. So if you're already going to do it, at least read this, and maybe this is enough to wake you up and encourage you not to do it. Because apparently you forgot the entire Torah that says not to do it. So maybe this will remind you. And I 100% agree, everybody should have this in their house, in their on their screens, in their Bet Knesset. This literally should be laminated. You know, so if it was allowed to make this into a tattoo, I would say tattoo it. But we're not allowed to have tattoos. This is something, Rabotai Karim, this is Da'at Torah. This is Da'at Torah. This is what a person needs to think. That if you're going to destroy your neshama, you could do it in 2 seconds by watching TV, by watching shows, by watching the internet, all that stuff. 2 seconds. You could use everything for good and for bad. You could use the internet to get the Gehenom. You could use the internet to get the Gan Eden. The internet, Baruch Hashem, is allowing many Chachamim to reach countless people in all parts of the world. But also leads many people to Gehenom because of all the pornography and filth and so on. So everything can be used for good and bad. If you're going to be using these screens of your TV, of your phone, of your computer for bad, at the very least, take all of this into consideration and realize what's on the line, what you're losing. What you're losing as a result of watching all this filth. And perhaps this will encourage you to not do it. So as far as to complete the answer to your question, Teshuva is number one, admitting that what you're doing is wrong. Number two is to stay away from it by building a fence, by learning about the topic, learning about the sin, learning about the mitzvah, learning what entices you to sin, learning what entices you to do a mitzvah and so on, building a fence around it, not spending any time with people that encourage you to sin, not going to places that encourage you to sin and so on. That's step number two. Step number three, the Rambam says, is remorse, where you simply cry to Hashem when you do this vidui. By admitting that it's wrong is good, but it's not enough. You have to also be sorry about it. Meaning, cry over it, be sorry about it. Say, Hashem, I'm sorry, but genuinely mean it. How come it's step three and not step number one? Because Rabbi Israel Misalan says, that's because when you first stop sinning, it's not because you think it's wrong. You stop sinning because you see that something else is more right. But you don't feel that watching movies is wrong at first, even when you stop watching movies. You don't feel that wasting seed is so wrong, even after you stop wasting seed in the beginning. You don't feel like being immoral with women is so wrong. You actually find it fun. At first, you don't feel so bad about it. When do you feel bad about it? Once you have stopped, admitted the problem, stopped it, learned about it, built a fence, stayed away from it, stayed away from the filth, from the spiritual filth, for an extended period of time, long enough to be able to smell the stench that comes from it, then you will feel sorry for ever being part of it. This is why many times real Baalei Teshuva only start crying about their sins months and sometimes years after they started doing Teshuva. Why? Because in the beginning, when they started doing Teshuva, they didn't realize it was so wrong to violate Shabbat. They didn't realize it was so wrong to have abortions, to steal, to do all types of... They didn't think it was so wrong. Without Torah, in reality, there's really nothing holding you back from murdering and stealing and doing everything wrong in society. There's really absolutely no real reason to not be a monster, if not for the Torah. And you're going to say, oh, but the law. Yeah, but what if you can get away with it? What if you can get away with it, with murder and rape and so on, like many politicians and superstars and Hollywood stars do on a regular basis? They murder and rape and pedophilia and so on for a long, long time until they know enough where they expose them. But really, they go with crimes unanswered for many years, decades. Wicked people, disgusting, filthy people, like Michael Jackson, Imach Shimo v'zichro, and the Kevin Casey, whatever his name is, all these filthy people in Hollywood that are pedophiles, that they do it for decades. Decades. They don't feel wrong about it for a second. They don't feel wrong about it for a second. Many times, even after they're exposed, they don't feel wrong about it. Why? They don't have Torah. Without the Torah, there's really no reason to not be a monster. If you can get away with it, there's no reason not to do it. But if you have Torah, you realize this is wrong. This is not the will of Hashem. This is disgusting. This is terrible, and so on. But you're only going to realize that after you have gotten yourself far enough from the filth to realize it's filth. That's why it's the third step, says Rabbi Yisrael Misalant. And then step number 4, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will test you and verify whether you've really passed the test, and then sign off on you, you are a real Baal Tshuva. Now if you want to express your whole Tshuva, to make it much bigger, much greater, much stronger, and so on, you throw in some Kiruv in there on a regular basis, because that the more you help others, the more HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to help you. And many times you need to help others in order for your Tshuva to be complete to begin with anyway. But the point is that Tachnun Vidui, that is in essence admitting it, and then as far as you're admitting it in multiple stages of the Tshuva.
You know when you have a dream and you see a pretty woman? You've had that? Now you never actually see an ugly woman in dreams. It's always a pretty woman. And by the way, it's always the same woman for all of us. All of us have a dream of the same exact woman. And she's more dangerous than the Satan himself. Who is she? You're not even allowed to say her name. What are you going to call her for?
It functions very much like drugs. People are addicted to it.
I tried to quit dozens of times, hundreds of times.
My fantasies and stuff, they're not mine anymore.
Cabinet ministers, judges, diplomats, even one of the country's top spies. These men are accused of some of the most sadistic child sexual abuse imaginable on hundreds of victims.
It shouldn't take over your whole life. If you satiate it, you're never going to have enough. If you starve it and only feed it when it's permissible according to the Torah, you're always going to be happy.